Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you had a fantastic Christmas or whatever winter holiday it is that you like to celebrate, and I wish you a fantastic new year. Today I would like to talk to you about Overwatch 2. Now I know, it has already been squeezed out by a billion YouTubers. What could I possibly say that would be of any new information that has not already been said before, right? Hear me out. I don't want to talk about the usual stuff about Overwatch 2, about the PvE, the talent trees, the new heroes, or the new game modes, and all the other stuff that we already know about. I want to talk to you about why I oppose the idea that Overwatch 2 simply boils down to a game expansion, and would like to explain to you why I stand with Blizz on this one about Overwatch 2 actually being a sequel. So for now, all the YouTubers I follow so far have been calling Overwatch 2 just an expansion, simply because some of the game from Overwatch 2 will carry over to the original. However, in Jeff's own words,
as we got going, we started to add things like new looks for all the characters that we're extremely proud of. We completely redid all the interface, we upgraded the engine. You know, we are building a true sequel. And we had a moment where we're looking at the sequel and we're thinking to ourselves, well, what does it mean to me if I'm a player of the current Overwatch and this game comes out? I'm going to be bummed. I'm not going to be excited because I'm going to feel like I've been left behind. And so we made a bunch of decisions to make sure that no one felt left behind. I'm sure we've all played games where we were enjoying the game immensely. We loved the game, and a sequel came out, and we were not allowed to play that sequel. And all the progression that we had didn't come forward with us. It just felt like a bummer. When I described the feature list of Overwatch 2 to people, all of the different bullet points that are in it, it is a clear sequel. And I almost want to challenge everybody back. Why is it okay? Why is it okay if we do the wrong thing by the player, which is not let them play the new maps, not pull their progression forward? Is it okay to call it a sequel? But if we were to if we were to let everybody play, then, oh, it's just a mode that you're getting. I don't subscribe to that at all. I think the game is absolutely a sequel. I think it's a huge game. And I think we are really trying to do right, not only by our players, players of the current Overwatch game who maybe aren't interested in Overwatch 2. I feel like we're really doing right by them, but I'm hoping we're doing right by players of games that are going to have sequels that have nothing to do with Overwatch in the future. Like, I hope we actually influence the industry a little bit, that your progression can come forward with you, and players of the earlier version can play the new version with people.
See, to me, it seems like Blizzard is actually trying to break the norm. Maybe it's just me, but hear me out. It seems to me like Activision put some kind of pressure on Blizzard to create a sequel, and as Overwatch is not really the type of game you can make a sequel about, so to speak, they used the creativity that they have and they broke the norm and were actually able to create a sequel anyways, and in the meantime, also making it in a way that it will make us, the existing player base, happy. And here's why I think that. Overwatch players are split between the casual players and the competitive players. A lot of players that love the comics that gave the backstories to the game asked for a PvE mode, and some players simply just don't care about the lore at all. But how to keep both of them happy? So Blizzard released comics, animated shorts, and short stories in a sporadic manner and scattered throughout the entire story timeline. However, we can gather these stories together and see that Overwatch actually tells a concise story that has both a beginning, a climax, and a crazy cliffhanger type of ending. So I'm going to quickly run through the story timeline for the Overwatch story so far. If you would like to skip this part, feel free to skip to the timestamp that is currently on the screen. Now I'm going to break this up in the beginning, the story, the climax, the introduction to the beginning, the ending, and the ending scene. 30 years ago, Omnica Corporation does some batshit crazy stuff and decides to build a bunch of different types of robots for different types of reasons. In the meantime, SST Laboratories would work on the manufacture of Bastion units. There was a rise in malfunction in the Omniums the Omnica Corporation built, and then there are investigated for fraud and shut down, and all Omniums are decommissioned. SST Laboratories introduced the E-54 series Bastion as peacekeeping unit, and during this, many Omniums begin spontaneous reactivation, commencing the mass destruction of the Bastion siege automatons and other robot war machines. Then, the Omnium's armies of Omnics begin their attacks on Russia, thus commencing the beginning of the Omnic crisis. As Omnic's assault begin to spread across the nations, the E-54 siege automaton Omnic, known as Bastion, is finally created. 29 to 27 years ago, Volskaya Industry develops the Zvigator in response to the Omnic attack, and Germany implements and equips crusaders whom Reinhard Wilhelm joins to fight with. In the meantime, the US also implements the Soldier Enhancement Program, of which Jack Morrison and Gabriel Reyes become a part of. And despite all of these efforts, all nations fail to push the Omnics back. The UN later decides to put together a team of most powerful entities at their disposal and form the Overwatch Strike Team. Baldur dies, excuse me if I pronounced it wrong, and sends Reinhardt in his stead. So, Jack Morrison, Gabriel Reyes, Anna Amari, Reinhard Wilhelm, Torbjorn Lindholm, and Liao are currently recruited into Overwatch. And so the story begins. So Gabriel Reyes is named Strike Commander, and Overwatch begins its victories against the Omnics, and a year later, Overwatch finally makes some progress and takes down the control structure of the Omnics. The UN decides to give Morrison the credit for this instead of Reyes, who was actually the commanding officer in the first place. Obviously, Reyes was not very happy about that, and the Omnic crisis is written in history to be now over. Overwatch becomes a peacekeeping organization, of which Jack Morrison replaces Gabriel Reyes as a strike commander, while Reyes, having been considered by the UN as too rogue, is put in charge of the newly formed Blackwatch, the part of Overwatch that basically did the dirty work. 3 years later, Torbjorn loses an arm and decides to have a cancer kid to compensate. Around 20 years ago, then, the Carta Mandata becomes a global celebrity due to their efforts in creating a peaceful environment between Omnics and humans. During this time, Australia goes kaput thanks to the Australian government, and the Australian Liberation Front is created, and then they try to sabotage the Omnics fusion core, thus creating a huge explosion which completely ruins Australia's climate. Good job, Australian Liberation Front. Somewhere far away, in the meantime, our cute little cheese robot wakes up in a forest. 10 years ago, the Numbani government then updates their local horse robots from OR14 to OR15, and in the meantime, the environmental disaster forces staff at Eco Point Antarctica to go into cryostasis. A year later, allegations of corruption and illegal activity was claimed against Overwatch, and in the meantime, the Shimada brothers have a brotherly squabble after the death of Sojiro Shimada, and Hanzo murders his brother Genji, cause why not? Genji then is saved by Mercy and hired into Blackwatch to take down the criminal Shimada clan. Blackwatch captures Jesse McCree while chasing the Deadlock Gang, and he's given the option to either go to jail or join Blackwatch, and of course, he chose to wear the black. Overwatch Slipstream goes missing along with the pilot during a test flight, and in the meantime Mora is hired into Blackwatch by Reyes. Pilot Tracer is discovered in a state of chronal disassociation, totally made up, but I like it, and Monkey Winston begins working on a solution for her. The existence of Blackwatch becomes public knowledge, and the Venice incident becomes a center of investigation. I'm really not going to explain this in this video, however, you are more than welcome to look it up, or if you want me to make extra videos going into detail about Overwatch lore, please say so in the comment section below. The Japanese government, in the meantime, files a complaint about Blackwatch activity within their borders. The climax. In the meantime, the extremist group Null Sector kidnaps Mondata, London's mayor, and 100 people, holding them in a King's Row power plant. Overwatch offers to help, but the UK minister denies them the permission to do so. McCree then travels to the UK and comes back, giving Overwatch intelligence about Null Sector disposition, and Reyes neither denies nor confirms having sent McCree to England. Jack Morrison ignores orders from the UN and travels all the way to UK to rescue the hostages anyways, with Mercy, Reinhardt, Torbjorn, and newbie Tracer. A year later, we then learned that Anna Amari is believed to be killed by Amélie Lacroix during a hostage rescue operation led by Morrison. In Havana, Sojourn sends Tracer, Mercy, Winston, and Genji to catch Maximilian, who then reveals under interrogation that Doomfist will be in Singapore in 3 weeks' time. Winston is able to capture Doomfist with the help of Tracer and Genji, die for life, and Mora done fucked up in Italy, and so the UN decides to do another investigation of Overwatch and Blackwatch. An explosion then destroys Overwatch's Swiss headquarters, in which Morrison and Reyes are believed to have been killed. Finally, the UN decides to disband Overwatch. So the introduction to the ending is the following that happens in the space between 5 years ago and as recent as 3 months ago. The second Omnic crisis begins in Russia again. Soldier 76 targets multiple former Overwatch facilities and steals equipment, including a prototype heavy pulse rifle from Watchpoint Ground Mesa. Talon launches an operation in Monte Cristi, to which they resort to looking inside civilian homes, invading them, and later setting fire to the town entirely, which then becomes the deciding factor for Baptiste to leave Talon. Vishkar begins to work in Rio de Janeiro after Symmetra and Sanjay Korpal, who is secretly working for Talon, sabotage the local business. And then Lucio steals Vishkar technology, whom he claims Vishkar stole from his father's research, and he rallies Rio's people against the corporation. He then is too cool to be seen as a revolutionary, so he becomes an awesome DJ and celebrity and sells a ton of albums. We finally get to present day, where Winston begins working on a shield generator and is attacked by Talon, led by Reaper, as they were looking to retrieve the old employment list of Overwatch and their current location, to which Winston successfully protects. Finally, the ending. Winston realizes the casualties from the second Omnic crisis and therefore sends a signal to recall all former Overwatch members to unite. Mei is released from cryostasis, Widowmaker kills Mondata, Genji goes to visit his bro and tells him he done fucked up and shows him what he has reduced him to, Soldier 76 attacks Los Muertos in Dorado, McCree eliminates a talent team that is attempting to raid a train, Ryan and Cancer Mini Orion go on a cruise, Junk and Hog make fireworks off a skyscrapers in Sydney after killing the CEO of Hyde Global, Anubis escapes Helix's security confinement but Farah comes to save the day, the sniper known as Shrike, I hope I pronounced that right, makes several attacks on Talon in Egypt and then joins forces with Soldier 76, Sombra leaks Lumerico information and Lumerico's CEO steps down due to her leaks, and Junk's and Hog's robbery in the Branco de Dorado. Then Reaper leads a Talon mission to kill Katya Volskaya with Sombra and Widowmaker on his team. The mission fails because Sombra. Talon tries to raid a museum where they attempt to steal the Doomfist gauntlet, and Winston and Tracer go there to stop them. Bastion encounters Torbjorn during his travels, and Torbjorn adopts him as his kawaii robot son. Doomfist breaks out of prison and meets with Maximilian, and then throws Viali down a bridge because why not? Then he gets his annoying mechanical gauntlet back and one-shots all the OR-15 defense robots. Effie builds her own cute little horse robot, and then Ryan decides to rejoin Overwatch despite Brigitte's constant whining not to. Zarya attempts to capture Sombra, but she translocates away back to spawn at 1 health, so she fails. Diva then saves Busan, and Baptiste helps 2 Talon agents invade the mansion of Vernon Sinclair just so he can help him escape and use that to make him promise to provide free medicine for the local clinic. And then there is the ending scene.
Ash! Ash! We got trouble!
Jesse McCree. Been a while. You promised you'd write.
Well, Ash. I've been kinda busy.
We're pretty busy ourselves, so it's awful convenient you showing up today.
Yeah. You never been one to shy away from a good tip.
Hey, we worked hard for this score. You'd best move on now.
All I want is that crate. Everything else is yours.
This crate? Huh. Bob. Well, well. Now you got my attention. What is it?
That's none of your business.
Well, as I see it, now it's very much our business.
Doesn't always have to be this way, Ash.
Apparently, it does.
like Bob got himself some upgrades.
Smoke him out of there! Last chance, McCree! Toss out your weapon!
All right, Ash. Here it comes.
Oh, shoot! What the... McCree?
Sorry about that, Bob. No hard feelings.
McCree? Hey! Untie me, McCree!
Say hi to the gang
talking to
for
you.
me.
I will not be ignored! I'm gonna rebuild Bob, and I'm gonna have him rip off your other arm!
Hey there, cowboy.
Welcome back, partner.
How long have I been gone?
Far too long.
What happened?
Well, that's a story for another time. But I got a call. They're getting the band back together. They want me. But really, they need you.
Jesse, wait. What are you going to do?
I've got some business to attend to. Say hi to the monkey for me.
Monkey?
Scientist. Whatever.
And then we have 0 Hour, which is the beginning of Overwatch 2. What makes a sequel? And what makes an expansion? What I like to take as an example for this is franchises like Call of Duty, Dragon Age, Far Cry, Assassin's Creed, and any other games like that that would have sequels. What do they all have in common? Well, that would be a whole new game with a whole new storyline, whether it be continued story from the previous game or a completely new one, right? And what makes an expansion? I like to think of Diablo for this example. I am a Diablo 2 baby, and when Diablo 2 came out, it had the story ending at chapter 4, and only had 4 character classes to choose from. When the expansion Diablo 2 Lord of Destruction came out, it was simply an add-on to the already existing game, adding 2 more chapters, 2 more characters, and a few items and runes, etc. And it was not a new game. Sure, it was created separately and had its own CD for installation, but when you would run a Diablo 2 Lord of Destruction and start a new game, it would start from chapter 1 and run through to chapter 6 along with the expansion. It was like adding a few more pages to the same book, if you will. However, with Overwatch 2, it is a completely different thing. They are not adding a few pages to the same story, they gave a clear cliffhanger ending to Overwatch 1 and gave a clear beginning to Overwatch 2 with 0 Hour. They have created a completely new game with a PvE story, with a beginning and an end for the new game. What Papa Jeff said time and time again is that they don't want to make us loyal players divide and provide a new character and new game modes just to Overwatch 2 players, and they also don't want to just create a new PvE game and neglect the already existing player base of Overwatch 1 by publishing Overwatch 2 without really tending to Overwatch 1 and not really bringing out any content for it. He wanted to make the best out of both worlds and decided to make an expansion for Overwatch 1 and also make a sequel at the same time, which is Overwatch 2, and put it all in one, so that Overwatch 1 players will be able to access the new heroes and the new game modes and even the new updated engine. The fact that Overwatch 1 has a clear beginning and a clear ending to its story, as sporadic as it was presented to us, and Overwatch 2 has its own beginning following up from Overwatch 1's ending, shows that it is a sequel and it is not simply an expansion. So maybe calling it a sequel expansion hybrid would be more appropriate, if you will, but I just don't like how some people are just brushing off the fact that Blizzard is actually attempting to revolutionize the way games are published. This is just my opinion, of course. Feel free to comment in the section below and tell me if you think I'm wrong or if you agree with me. If you like the content, please leave a like and subscribe, hitting the bell icon in case you would like to know when my next upload is live. Thank you so much for watching and see you next week. Bye!